Welcome to the Making of YOR, a podcast where we turn ideas into game mechanics for our upcoming tabletop RPG, YOR. If you'd like to stay up to date on the developments of YOR, head over to our Discord. Link is in the description. And we're back.
Welcome to the Making of YOR.
Yes, and more of us talking about classes.
Yep.
Tier 2, and we're on the Holy Night. We did a little work on it
The other day, Wednesday.
Yeah, between sessions or between recording sessions. And so the Holy Night's coming together. We've done resources, zeal. We got a cool smite mechanism. Pretty much all the class features, and I think we're just working on archetype features now.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the Paladin. He is supposed to be kind of like the traditional, I guess, word Paladin in its meaning, which is like the best knight in Charlemagne's court.
I think originally the Paladin, like Charlemagne's court, his best knight, the guy he had that was the best fighter was his Paladin.
So while keeping the theme of Holy Knight Smitey, we're going to do something that I guess feels a little more fighter-ish for the Paladin archetype of a Holy Knight. So we're thinking something to spend resource on that will mitigate damage.
Yeah.
And then either that or, I don't know, I think the holy weapon buff is probably not a spend, even though
it's just a passive that he can infuse.
Yeah, I think it is better as like a passive. The weapon he carries is somehow cooler. Melee weapon. I think this is what we discussed, that it would be the Holy Knight's not supposed to use arrows.
No, the Paladin doesn't use a javelin.
Yeah. So some kind of a weapon infusion, static buff, and then something to spend on for damage reduction. We've already done, obviously, Barbarian can spend resource
for his D4s.
Yeah, to roll dice. And then the Juggernaut Fighter is just naturally tankier with additional DR. No cost. So maybe the Paladin instead of DR could spend, maybe make it a fairly high cost, but the Paladin could spend an amount of resource to gain resistance against a damage type. So that it's not just physical damage. Maybe he can spend resource to gain like fire resistance.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, you just spend 3 or 4 resource, pick damage type, fire, lightning, physical, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it all depends on so the resource wouldn't have to be crazy high if it's only against one attack, like if it's a reaction. But if we make it an action and a little bit higher cost, then it's like resistance for the encounter.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
It'd be cool. It's probably a little bit more useful to have resistance. I guess it depends. In some scenarios, it would be more useful to have it be a lower cost, but you be able to use it as a reaction.
Well, they've already got the smite, which is sort of their bursty thing, and they're spending 2 resource on that.
Yeah.
Bursting it down, so they do that and the no, I don't know. Is it more fun for it to be a sometimes thing, or is it more fun for it to be I worked up to this?
It's more unique. It's definitely more unique for it to be a thing you work up to and then you have.
Okay.
But we didn't really put a lot of generation
on the
currently on the Paladin. Well, I don't know. Whenever you make a basic attack, you gain 1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's still gaining 1 per turn, like most will be.
Yeah.
Or, some are gaining 2. But he could gain a lot if an ally goes down. I guess then the other thing would be, is this resistance only against magical stuff? Like everything but physical?
I feel like he could pick physical. Because it's not going to be... Physical is going to be the best one at tier 2. But as you go higher, I imagine it's going to be a lot more of all right, what kind of damage type does this guy do?
Yeah. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out the brand of like, is it any damage type, which would be fine. I would also be okay with it not with being anything but physical. I wouldn't have a problem with that either. But yeah, physical is definitely going to be the most useful for the longest portion of the game. But the others are going to be certainly more valuable later. What I mean, though, is the cost can be lower.
Yeah.
A little bit lower if it doesn't include physical.
Well, I'm just thinking, because if it doesn't include physical, every time you have to fight orcs or whatever, this is basically not there.
Yeah, anytime you have to fight regular stuff. But I also kind of thought as like, I don't know, I guess in my head I'm constructing too much lore. I'm I'm attaching a little bit of like a lore concept to the Holy Knights. But yeah, it probably should be anything. And I think it probably should be for the encounter.
Yeah.
And I think it should probably cost a little bit more.
You think 3 or 4?
So if it's 4, I would imagine that in most combats you won't use it. To be honest, even at 3, in a lot of combats you're not going to use it because more damage would be better.
Yeah.
You're probably only going to use it in a combat where an ally goes down and there's a lot of enemies left.
Yeah.
And then you might sacrifice whatever action it takes to use this.
Yeah. Do you think 3?
Let's start with 3. Because I'm going to assume, do you think it should be an action to activate or a quick action?
I think quick action.
3 and a quick action to activate.
Because that way he can do that and still smite.
Okay. We'll start with 3. 3, who knows? 3 might be a little strong. We might have to make it 4.
Yeah.
I picture it coming in handy when you're fighting a bunch of little guys.
Yeah.
And like, or you're fighting like one big enemy that does a specific damage type, like fire. And then like, like it'd be pretty good if you're fighting a fire elemental and he just killed your mage on round 1 and now you have full resource and use your quick action to gain fire resistance. And so you're going to be really hard to take down for the rest of the fight.
Backstop.
You're now taking half damage from that elemental.
Yeah, I like that because it was sort of what we talk about for the Holy Knight is like he's a really good backstop for your party. Is if things go really wrong, he can sort of hold them there.
And I think we give probably. Do you think we should have favorable or unfavorable math for resistance? In that some game systems build their math so that you can percentage will never contribute to you reaching 0. Like a resistance.
Yeah.
Or do you build the math favorably so that it does contribute? I.e., is resistance factored first or is the flat number factored first? Because resistance, of course, is more valuable if it's factored first.
Yeah. Well, that only.
Like if you have DR3 and you get hit with something that does 6 damage, do you take 3 and then there's 3 left and so you take whatever 2 or 1?
Yeah.
Or you do it the other way where you half it to 3 and then 3 DR says 0?
I think resistance applies first.
To do favorable math to the player.
Well, actually, I think it'd probably be more accurate, more truthy to say that resistance applies second because the armor is stopping the thing from hitting you and whatever gets through is your damage.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't mind either system. It matters less in a PvE game like this where it matters in a PvP type scenario. If you're playing a game that then you really have to have resistance is factored second. Percentage is flat done first because so that you can never have a build where the tank is unkillable.
Yeah.
Definitely something you want to avoid in PvP games. You don't want the tank to default become the best character because it can literally be built to never take damage.
The weapons don't poke through his damage.
Yeah.
What am I, Helldivers 2 Charger?
Yeah, right. So I'm good with that. Resistance will apply second.
Yeah.
Flat number applies first. which makes it better, in my opinion. That makes it much more viable at 3.
Yeah.
If it applied the other way around, it'd be like, we might want to make it 4 because this is going to be a person who,
This
if
is
he
gonna be
does physical,
tough.
yeah, if he picks physical, he will be practically undamageable.
Yeah.
You got a name for this?
Mm,
We'll get to it at some point.
Get holy ape strong.
What do we think the weapon buff should be?
So I was thinking +1 damage, radiant damage type. Fiends and undead must make a mind save equal to your tier to avoid or to target anyone but you.
So it's going to be a bonus to damage.
Yep.
And it's going to convert the damage type.
Yes.
And this is a choice, right? Because this is like a...
Well, I think it's a choice to infuse it. I think once you infuse it, it does this damage type.
Okay. I think... So here's my thought.
Yeah.
No bonus damage.
Okay.
Just radiant and the other thing. And like it sheds light.
Sheds light. Okay.
The only reason I say is because against anything that has physical resist, that's already a damage buff.
Yeah.
Pretty substantial one by converting damage.
Yeah.
And because right now damage numbers scale out of control pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only giving 1 to the weapon master, +1 bonus damage. And in reality, if anything has some DR, then this is probably a bigger damage buff than just 1.
Yeah.
It's probably, or if they have resistance,
yeah,
then it's a substantially bigger than just 1. Damage conversion is pretty powerful, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'm fine with knocking off the 1. We can give it to him at tier 3. That'll be easy.
Yeah. That would be I think a good way to buff his damage at that point.
Yeah, I like that the tank sword, like fiends and undead feel compelled to attack you.
Yeah. So it'll be an incidental action.
Yep.
Should it be to radiant or necrotic?
How is it phrased in like the 3.5 cleric handbook? You could do one or the other, but you had to pick and stick with that one.
Oh, maybe.
Like you can't like do one or the other. Your paladin can do one or the other.
Okay. We could do that.
Yeah. Whenever you take this class, you pick which damage type it does.
I'll put when you gain this feature.
Yeah.
Undead and fiends are compelled to attack you.
I think so.
In what range?
I think if they can see the sword. Well, it's not they're compelled to attack you. They have to make a mind save to attack anybody but you. But anybody, any of them who can see the sword or whatever.
10-foot light.
Yeah.
Okay. So incidental action, convert weapon damage to. Holy weapon buff. When you gain this feature, pick either radiant or necrotic. Incidental action. Convert weapon damage to your chosen damage type. Undead and fiends who can see the sword must make or see the weapon. See the weapon must make a mind save to attack anyone but you. Get a 10-foot light.
Sounds good.
Okay. We'll eventually.
Yeah, we will eventually
clean it all up.
Yeah, when you choose this weapon, you may infuse your weapon with whatever.
Yeah.
We don't need that right now. It's just us.
Say that so often. Avatar. So we were thinking range smite. And can do a special damage type as well. I think that's pretty obvious. And that's going to be a passive benefit.
Yeah.
What kind of range are we thinking? I don't want it to be as long as magic, like spellcasters, full spellcasters.
Yeah, I was thinking 30 feet.
That feels good to me too. All right, we'll figure that all out later. Range smite. When you spend resource to smite, your attack has a 30-foot range and does a damage type from a list.
Perfect.
We'll figure out what
we want on the list.
Yeah, what becomes the available damage types. We're still working on probably putting together a comprehensive damage type list.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to go too insane on that.
No, you're going to have like acid, fire, cold, lightning, necrotic.
I'm thinking
poison.
like 4 to 5, what would be typical magic types.
Yeah.
And 4 maybe like special damage types.
Yeah.
That are like radiant, necrotic,
sonic.
Yeah, like non-typical magic damage types. Like, so elementals, if you will, elemental damage types, and
a couple of extras.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that like radiant, necrotic, and maybe another one will probably be rarer.
Yeah.
As availability. And in turn, those will probably have less creatures that are resistant to them.
Yes. Like there's not going to be very many creatures that are resistant to sonic damage.
Yeah. So I think that that's probably how we'll do that. They are rarer and also more valuable.
Yep.
And yeah, there'll be a lot more things resistant to the types of things that wizards do, but wizards are going to do like 4 to 5 different damage types.
Yep.
Which means they'll always have something
in the chamber.
Something that they're not resistant to.
Yeah.
But for certain things that we might hand out, because I feel like switching your damage type to fire or ice will probably be an easier thing to obtain as a non-magic character.
Yes.
But those things will commonly have creatures who are more commonly have creatures that are either resistant
elemental resistances
immune.
are going to be the most common.
Yeah, there'll be things that are immune to fire damage, things that are immune to cold damage.
There's not going to be a whole lot that's immune to radiant or necrotic.
Exactly. So, gaining something like radiant or necrotic is like this. It's probably like through an epic boon or through a class feature.
Sure.
You probably just can't easily get a hold of something that can do it.
Yeah. You got to be a paladin.
But you get a flame on sword, and that's cool, but there are things that are immune to fire. So,
yeah.
At least that's the plan.
Hell yeah.
I like it. All right. So, Avatar, which we are doing the range smite, and then we need to have something to spend on. Because the range smite is a free upgrade
to their smite.
To the thing that you're already spending on.
Yeah. What do you... Because the paladin basically is like the fighter version of this. I figure the avatar is probably the mystic version of this. What would we give them? It's sort of like a buffy.
Yeah, because the range smite helps you with because your buff is also 30 feet.
Yep.
So this is kind of like
in that zone.
Yeah, in the area that mystics do well. Crusader, we're planning on having an aura.
Yeah.
Which is going to be the leader type. And he's going to have a little bit of both. So he's going to have an ability to spend on that's going to be kind of aggressive. And then an aura. Avatar.
What about like an intercede where like you can spend like one resource and lower the roll by 1 point or whatever? Like if you fail a roll by 1 point or whatever, you can spend a point to treat it as a success.
I don't know. That feels
bookkeepy.
Feels like something you're not going to use much.
Yeah.
Especially not in combat. What would be a good reaction?
Okay.
Because they're not going to have... Paladin has no reactions. The Crusader, I don't think is going to have a reaction. None of the features are reactions. So maybe the Avatar should get some kind of cool reaction.
Okay.
Could be we talked about in some other features, we discussed the idea of a reaction to an ally taking damage.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they could have a reaction to an ally taking damage. Or maybe they could have like, what's that really commonly used spell in D&D? The flame, where it's a reaction and you hit them with fire damage.
Hellish Rebuke.
Hellish Rebuke.
Yeah.
What if they had like a rebuke reaction of some kind?
I was thinking like 2 points you may smite as a reaction.
Smite is a reaction to being damaged or something.
Yeah.
Well, it already costs 2 points to smite.
Okay.
So that would just be, you can, it's just your, the problem with that is like, I feel like well, I guess it really wouldn't help.
Oh, you can make it 1 point.
That would be interesting.
Throwing lightning bolts everywhere.
Yeah, and then you would probably not smite much on your turn, but you'd make a basic attack, gain a point. Someone would hit you, and you'd use a reaction to smite them.
Yeah.
It's just a real smitey guy.
Yeah. That feels right for an avatar.
The damage dealing paladin.
I mean, tank damage and leader. I don't hate that.
I don't hate that either. I think if we do that, it sounds pretty strong.
Yeah.
I'm not against it. But what I would say is that the damage type of your smites would have to be from the elemental list.
Yeah.
The elemental list.
Yeah.
I.e., or maybe we would just say it has to be like frost, lightning, or fire.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say that is because with the amount of like potential to do damage that this is, I feel like it should be limited to the more common damage types.
Yeah.
Same thing. Probably you have to pick one of these when you gain this feature.
Yeah.
And your smites
or deal that damage type.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Because that's gonna do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Because you're essentially gaining an attack every turn.
Yeah.
If you will.
It's expensive, but you can do it.
You're getting an extra attack. If it's only one, you're gonna always want one because that gives you an extra attack.
It's a 1 and then plus however much the smite cost. So it's 3.
Oh, okay. I was thinking it as I was thinking that you were making it cheaper to do as a reaction.
No. I was thinking it's in addition to.
In addition to the smite cost. So a 3 to smite.
Yeah. So if you had, 5 resource, you'd spend 1 there and then 4 on smite, and you'd deal 3d6 damage plus whatever.
Okay. Yeah, that would be occurring much less often.
Yeah.
So that would probably only ever get used then. That would probably only ever get used if an ally died.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you're going to be gaining 2 points, and you're probably just going to spend those 2 points
on a smite.
On your first chance to smite. You're going to spend those 2 points.
Yeah.
So it would probably be reserved for when allies drop. So I don't know if I would almost prefer it be something different, but something that would be more usable. I think it would be too strong at 1.
Yeah.
But I also want it to be a feature that you're going to use like decently often.
Yeah. I mean, we could just like redo the smite thing as a reaction there and just keep it 2 points per, but they can do it as an action or as a reaction.
We could. Yeah, we could. I'm just thinking about, I guess I want to give a second to see if I can come up with something that isn't about smiting for them.
I was just trying to think of like, that's like
that feels probably a little better because then you're going to gain your second point on your second turn.
Yeah.
And then you have 2 points now. So now are you going to save those 2 points to smite a character? Probably not. If someone hits you on that turn, you're going to smite them back and then take your turn to hit someone else.
Yeah.
So they will ramp in damage a little bit at that. Your turn 2 retribution attacks.
Yeah.
Which I think would be fun to use. That would be pretty cool. If I was playing that character and I'm like, I get 1 and then 2, and then after turn 2, somebody hits me and I'm just like, you're dead now. Get smited.
Yeah. Hey, how about fuck you?
How about you take 3d6 plus?
Yeah, eat a dick.
I like that.
Okay, cool.
I feel like that would be really fun in a gameplay scenario.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good gameplay loop.
Yeah, and we can come up with something more.
I mean, honestly, we just write "You may smite" as a reaction. All other rules as normal.
Yeah, that's really what it is.
I know that's technically 2 passives, but that's another thing for them to spend on in a different way, so I don't feel bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just really smitey. But I don't feel like that's bad for the character theme.
Yeah, especially one called the Avatar.
Yeah.
Like the embodiment of some sort of deity ought to throw smites around a lot.
So should it be smite as a reaction to taking damage or smite as a reaction to being targeted? Like, could you smite someone before they hit you if they target
you? What about
you?
in reaction to taking damage, you or an ally? So it's after the damage has been done, but it's anybody in your party.
So then you're always using it on turn 3.
Yeah, you basically always have it available.
Yeah, you can always use it if somebody hits anyone.
And yeah, you can fuck them up.
I don't know. I like it on you.
Okay,
I like it on. I like the idea of, in particular, this character is.
How dare you?
A little less supporty.
Yeah,
and is a little more. Yeah, how dare you attack me?
Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. So yeah, I think it's after the damage has been done.
After the damage. Okay.
With the audacity to scratch an avatar.
Yeah. All right. Leader type crusader.
All right. So we have that anathema, suffer me now, Shadow of Mordor vibe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. For sure. All right. So anathema is obviously going to be something that psychologically devastates someone. Will it be something you can just use, or is it like as a consequence to something?
Yeah. If it could be really powerful and also proc whenever an ally goes down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that.
Yeah.
But if we do that, then they're not going to have anything they directly interact with on their kit, because the other one's going to be an aura.
Yeah.
So this will be something that really is very much on an ally going down. Because this is going to be the thing that they use. Maybe let's do the aura first.
Okay.
And then think about what anathema means. Do we want the aura? Because since he's the only one getting an aura, it feels like we're really just going to be capturing like one type of aura, and that's it. Because we're not building a variety of auras.
Yeah. What does the Crusader's aura do?
Yeah. So I feel like this isn't that. Could be really devastating to your party, but it'll be up to their choice. Maybe his aura thing is that any ally that goes down, like they still gain a wound, you still get all this stuff, all of that jazz, but the ally can choose to stand up with 1 HP.
Oh,
like the Crusader's presence like inspires like a loyalty to death kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like an ally could on their next turn, they can choose to be at 1 HP. But it's really dangerous to them because you have a wound, and if you go down again, you're going to get hurt worse. But the Crusader thing kind of is like a fight to the death. Like these people don't go down easy.
That's pretty cool.
But as long as you leave it as their choice, then they get to decide.
Any ally who goes down in the aura
can choose
to
on their next turn stand up
with 1 HP.
With 1 HP. So if they don't want to risk it, they don't have to. You're not forcing it on the player. But if they want to, they can stand up and just get back in the fight.
Yeah.
Because that's not just reward; it's risk and reward.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But it is. But it is intense.
Mm-hmm.
And then that would be the one that could relate to someone going down, and then anathema could be a little different. Because I'd thought about the aura being something like it heals, or But I feel like a lot of those things probably just kind of could get out of hand.
Yeah.
And this would be harder to combo with something and it'd be broken.
That's pretty cool.
How big is the aura, you think?
I don't know. 15 feet feels pretty good to start with, right?
Yeah, I agree. Does it include you?
Yeah.
Okay, we can clarify this later, but aura 15 feet, you or any of your allies who go down within the aura can choose to stand back up with 1 HP on their next turn. You still gain wounds as normal.
Yeah.
It's not phrased well at all, but
we know what it means.
I think that captures the concept.
Crusade.
Yeah, that feels really crusader-y.
Yeah.
Like these guys are like, they behave like undead.
Yeah.
Like, they just won't stop. Man, the crusader, when you get him up to like 4th tier as like a front line leading an army kind of guy.
Yeah. If your army disbands, it immediately reforms at half health.
Yeah. These guys just don't quit. All right, anathema.
So it's something that is extremely hated.
Yes. Quitters.
Yeah, quitters.
Oh my gosh. If it's like if it's an effect that procs when an enemy tries to flee.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Like it's not something that it actively is a part of battle, but if someone tries to flee a combat with a crusader.
That'd be a cool like tier 3 or 4 ability.
Like if someone tries to flee, you get to smite as a reaction, no cost or whatever, like no resource cost. I don't know.
Well, I was thinking if they don't flee the first round of combat, they can't.
Ooh.
Like I think that'd be like a cool tier 3 or 4 ability.
You're locked in here with me.
If you don't flee first round of combat, you cannot flee.
Duelist is like, I want to duel the Crusader. Crusader's like, that's all I ever wanted.
1v1 me, bro.
Yeah, very much. I'm not locked in here with you. Maybe because we were thinking anathema is something you would spend on.
Yeah.
I had a cool concept, but the problem is we don't have enough of the game built.
Oh.
For like, I don't know, like, you know, the Ranger's favorite enemy thing?
Mm-hmm.
Except for it wouldn't be good for this. It wouldn't be good to build a feature like that because Ranger type features are inherently passive features.
Yeah.
And so something that would be active that you spend resource on doesn't. But I don't know. You could, I guess, build it in a way that like you select something you hate, which would be like an enemy type, you know, and that creature type or whatever. You could pick a creature type or a whatever, and that is your anathema. That is your hated thing. And that like maybe you have like something that makes you deal double damage, or like you could spend like your smites deal like extra damage or but it doesn't. I don't love that.
Yeah, that's cool, but it's just
mechanically doesn't really make sense with what we've built.
Like white bread. I don't hate it, but
yeah, I think I want something more, a little more interactive.
Yeah, visceral.
Yeah. You know, especially with the Avatar not really particularly having interactive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I would want to build the Crusader to not have interactive stuff either.
Yeah. How do we, I mean, we could give him like a fear aura.
Well, no, I don't want him to have 2 auras.
Yeah.
I want anathema. And I guess actually maybe instead of like the creature type thing, I like the idea that anathema is like you picked one dude to care about. and that dude knows it.
Yeah.
Right? That dude knows that you picked him. And he's like, oh, shit.
I mean, we talked about that. You mark a target, everybody deals extra damage to that target equal to your tier.
Yeah, we did talk about that. And maybe that's good. It
But
feels
you just inspire hatred in others.
yeah. It wouldn't be mechanically bad. We'd have to make it. I feel like it. The problem with something like that doesn't deal damage is that you don't want to make the cost very high.
Yeah.
It has the potential to do a lot of damage, but it doesn't do any damage on its own.
Yeah.
Which means like you don't know. Maybe that guy only has 3 HP left. You could have just whacked him once and he'd be dead.
Know? Yeah.
And if it's too high a cost, you're using it at the end of combat where that is already likely true.
Okay, so I like the marking.
Yes, agreed.
What should marking someone as a hated foe do?
That, or is it marking, or is it even more like the Celebrimbor thing where like it's a ability that is range of touch?
Oh yeah, like a brand kind of.
Yeah. We could go back to the thing like you talked about, maybe instead of extra damage, is that you can spend points and it means that allies can take a reaction to attack them.
Oh
like
yeah.
Right then. Because then it would be like explosive and you would feel the results of it immediately as like you did extra damage this turn.
Yeah.
They didn't get a chance to go again, because you made sure this guy it'd be using your action to do some other kind of like if you were using your action where you're giving up an attack.
Yeah.
But so there's a reduction in damage output.
Yeah.
But if 3 of your allies are able to, as a reaction, make an attack, then you're doing quite a bit more damage than you would have done with just your attack.
I don't hate that. I like it better than anything else we've come up with so far.
Definitely not. I feel like it's not range of touch, though.
Yeah.
Then it is pretty like that. That's the kind of thing that's.
I do like that, like grab somebody by the face.
I
mark
love
them
that.
as anathema.
Yeah. There's so cool things that could be done with it, but there's a lot of mechanics that most really cool things get a little bit mechanic heavy. And so we have to be careful with that. What if it's like a spend 3 or 4 resource?
Yeah.
They have to make a mind save or they become pacified.
Well, do any of the other ones things just not work when you spend resource though?
Well, like spells.
Yeah.
Spells have either half damage or they have like save or suck.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like any of our mind affecting spells are that way.
Yeah.
We could have a fail condition or like a success condition that's still bad for them, but a fail condition is like they're essentially out of the combat.
These all feel they're close. Like we're dancing around the thing we really want.
Well, and that is like going that direction feels very heavy. Like it's very much what Celebrimbor does. Except for I wouldn't want to make it so strong that they now fight for you.
Yeah.
We have the sorcerers and stuff could do stuff like that. I don't want tanky fighters to have the same kind of powers like, a dominate type ability.
Yeah.
But an ability that takes a person out of combat wouldn't necessarily be a problem as long as that person isn't fighting for you.
Yeah.
But I think of like a crusader, like a, like this is his aggressive way of converting people.
Yeah. I don't know. I was thinking more in the like convert into radioactive vapor kind of way.
Sure. Yeah. Well, the paladin, our paladin, archetype is the one that is definitely doing the like radiant necrotic stuff. And so I'm actually not even thinking of the crusader as being really like a paladin in the D&D sense.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of him as being, well, like I picture a crusader.
Yeah.
Which is like a little bit more of like a zealot.
Yeah, I'm thinking like first one to the breach, leading other guys with him.
Someone that influences people, allies and enemies.
Okay, what if it's like melee attack. Like you reach out, you grab somebody, they take some amount of damage, and then every time you hit them, every time you or your party hit them something, they take an amount of extra damage equal to the number of zeal you spent on the ability.
Okay. So my only issue with that is I don't really want something that competes with smite.
Yeah.
Like it's a choice you're making, like on straight damage.
No. So it would be like a damage over time thing. So you spend it, you grab them, you do this, and then you spent 2 damage on it. And every time you hit them thereafter, you add 2 on the top of every damage you do.
So how much would you spend on it?
Well, I think it's however much you spent. So if you spent 1, it's 1 damage. You spent 2, it's 2 damage. You spent 3, it's 3 damage. But you're giving up that action to.
Yeah, you're giving up the action, and you're giving up a smite or
a basic attack, a generation.
Yeah, a generation and a resource to a resource that you would
normally have. How much did you bank? Yeah. How much do you want to spend on fucking this guy up? So you can do it early on a guy you think is pretty weak to chip him down, or you can, wait for an ally to go down, spend big, and then beat the fuck out of that guy.
I don't hate the idea, but it's still just like, I don't know, there's like a lack of love with the gameplay loop of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm having trouble with.
Oh, Shader's going to want to be, I don't know. Maybe we go back to your everybody gets to make an attack on this guy thing.
Maybe. I don't love that either, but maybe. So, I don't know. I'm looking at the other two, and I feel like I like their gameplay loops.
Yeah.
And they each, I think, would feel fun to use. And right now I like his aura, but it's tough to come up with something that doesn't just feel like you would be comedic. Like one of them is just smite heavy, and the other one is there's a reason that you would save up your zeal to do this, or often you would be using it in a losing fight. Where ally goes down, and now you're going to get extra tanky.
Yeah.
Because you have the resource to spend because an ally went down. And so I want something that I feel like would feel natural to use.
Okay. What if it's every time you hit your anathema, you get that much HP back?
I had been considering something like that.
Yeah.
But it be treated for all your allies. And I thought that's too strong. Like healing everyone on your team.
Well, no. Like whoever hit them got it back. It's not just when you hit them. Like when you hit them, you get the HP back. When your teammate hits them, your teammate gets the HP back.
But that's what I mean. So
like everybody gets vampiric blade.
Okay. So yeah, that's not bad. And I had been thinking something like that too. But so is it something that you spend and then that person becomes the anathema, and until end of encounter, anyone who hits them heals?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't hate that.
Because that combo well with his aura.
We'll have to be real careful with the numbers.
Yeah.
To not make it like overly powerful. But I don't hate that idea. And we would maybe instead of, it almost makes me say instead of anathema, it should be like bloodthirsty or something.
Oh yeah. Blood of martyrs.
Yeah. I was about to do some 40K shit. You know what I was going to say.
Yeah. Feel the flame of hate.
Yeah. Okay. That is something that is in the area of something that feels good.
Yeah.
It is leadery-ish. It does fit the theme of that. And you're right, combos incredibly well with the aura, because someone could stand up and immediately heal.
Yeah.
From their 1 HP. Okay. So
it can be kind of expensive because by the time you do it, somebody's probably gone down.
Somebody probably went down. How much would they heal, and what are the conditions for healing? Like, any damage, basic attack, melee attack only. What are the things?
I think melee attack, because only true paladins fight in melee.
Yeah.
You can't properly hate the enemy from range.
Yeah. Whenever you or an ally makes a melee attack. you gain health equal to what? The paladin's tier?
Tier plus 1, probably.
That would be tier is 2 HP right now.
Yeah.
And if it's a fighter who's doing it, they're going to gain 4 HP. Unless we make it whenever someone uses their action to make a basic attack.
I mean, I'm fine with, the fighter's probably going to want HP more than anybody else.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm kind of for keeping the number a little lower if it's any basic attack, but making it a little higher if it's only your basic attack.
I think 3 HP at tier 2 is pretty substantial, but not like game breaking.
Your tier plus 1.
Yeah. Because it'll be better when your HP numbers are lower and it gets a little like less good, but as you can attack more. Like the ranger could get 3 attacks off if he had
his extra attack.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a fighter who became a ranger and you took the
4.
dual wielding.
He could get 4. He's a fighter who became a ranger who took the extra attack feat.
Yeah, if he took the feat. So he'd just go to full health, basically.
Yeah, which,
if that person lived long enough.
Yeah. If he didn't just have a blender turned on in his face.
Yeah. I don't think they can make it.
Yeah. Go gadget blender.
Yeah, the Ranger's dual wielding 4 attacks is probably pretty intense. Okay. Well, then I say we probably make it tier plus 1 is fine, and then I think we make it. We're assuming the paladin's going to have a cap of 6.
Yeah,
I think right now. I should probably start writing these down.
Yeah,
because we never really had any, but we need to at least have some loose ideas.
Have some ballparks.
Yeah, so we'll do cap of 6. So I'm thinking like 5.
I was thinking 4, just so that you have room for a smite in there.
Yeah, either way, he's probably only going to use it when someone goes down.
Yeah.
And if it's 4,
he still has a smite left in there.
He has 1 smite in the bank.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need some boons that increase your resource cap.
Yeah. Agreed.
Ooh, that'd be a cool magic weapon property too.
So action, agreed. Is this an action, quick act, or well, probably a...
it's an action.
It's an action. So you wouldn't be able to smite the same turn that you use it. Okay.
Or reaction. I don't know.
I think it makes more sense as an action or quick action,
I
think.
I think quick action. It's pretty expensive. And that would let them do both the same turn. Especially if they were like real fucked up.
Yeah, it would make for a big swingy turn.
Yeah. Like, all right, I do this, I smite you, I'm back at half HP.
Ally just went down, and I quick action, use 4 zeal, and then I smite you. Dealing 2d6 plus my weapon damage.
I get that HP back. Everybody else is ready to beat the shit out of you
and
now.
I gain 3 HP from hitting you.
Yeah, my buddy just stood back up. He's going to attack you.
Yeah.
Backstop.
Range of touch.
Yes. Well, that's a cool fight till the last man. When you're the last one down, everybody gets back up. You pop that.
Yeah. Okay. Anathema. Whenever you or allies, or it's a range of touch.
Yep.
Range touch, target becomes anathema. Whenever you or allies hit an enemy who is anathema, they gain HP equal to your tier plus 1.
Yep. I think that's pretty clear.
Yep. Cool. Well, I think we're pretty well done with the Holy Knight. At least ready to put him into some playtesting.
Sounds good.
Well, who knows? There's so many things to playtest.
Yeah.
Eventually,
what's going to happen is I'm going to make you guys play one shots, making you make different tier 2 characters every time.
Well, yeah. I mean, in all honesty, if there's anyone listening to this thing, whenever we get all 3 of you, when we get done with tier 2, we're going to rewrite and then we're going to release a public beta and ask people to like play everything and say, did you hate this? Was it fun?
How'd it go?
How'd it go? Because there is going to be tier 1, not that hard for us to test. No. It's pretty simple.
There's only 4.
We can work it out. But there are 14 classes in tier 2. And
Big jump.
it is a lot for only 3 people to try and play test.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that is it for this one.
Catch y'all on the flip side.